Okay, so what's been going on in banking and current accounts in May 2025 since our last update? Well, there is a brand new switching deal to tell you about, and this is from Co-operative Bank. It's a similar offer to one they've run quite a few times over the last year or so. It kind of comes and goes every few months, but it is actually an increase on when it ran earlier this year and late last year. It's now worth up to £175, and it is split into two parts. So the first part, the switch, is worth £100, and then if you stick around for another 3 months, then there's an extra £25 per month. Do all of that. Obviously, that is your 175 quid. And also, while you have the account, open up one of their 7% paying regular savers, there's more on top of that, potentially another 116 quid if you put the full amount in there. We're going to focus here, though, on that particular switching deal. So how do you get this money? Well, we have got the full analysis, as we always do with this and the other switch deals, over at becleverwithyourcash.com. But I'll take you through step by step what you need to do. So first of all, you need to request to start a switch to either a new or existing standard or everyday extra current account. So if you already have one of these, you need to start the switch, obviously. If you open one up, then you need to brand new, the new customer, you've got to do that within 2 weeks of opening the account, okay? And then you need to switch, as you do with all these deals, using the current account switching service. That will close the old account. So you need to make sure you start that process and do that. Now that switch, obviously do this as quickly as you can if you really want to move along with this, but you've got to do it within 8 weeks of starting it. Now, that's all you need to do, first of all. Unlike other offers, you need to do things potentially before the switch completes. With Co-op, you've got to do things after the switch completes. So do not start these things until that switch has been confirmed that it's happened, the old account is closed elsewhere. Then you need to deposit £1,000, although if you have transferred money as part of the switch from the old account, that will count to that £1,000. You need to set up 2 direct debits. You need to use your debit card at least 10 times. And you can do that on normal spending, or as we've got an article and we've also got a video, we've talked about some hacks, some different ways you can spend, but not actually spend with your card to meet the same criteria. You can do that. Set up online banking, and you need to add the debit card to your digital wallet. Do all of that, and then you will get the money, that £100, initial £100 for switching, pretty fast, pretty quickly. Then though, as soon as you have got that money, that is when the next part starts, okay? So the bonus requirements, every month, and I say the month begins the day after you get the bonus, you have to make 10 debit card transactions for 1 month, and the next month starts another 10, and the next month another 10. So those 3 months, you also, in each of those 3 months, need to pay out 2 direct debits. Now, you've set up those direct debits as part of the switch, so those ones can keep coming out. And again, if you are struggling to find direct debits for this offer, then I have listed over you can go just search on Google easy direct debits, quick and easy direct debits, and it should come up on our site. Some hacked ones you can set up, which again, not having to move things, just set up quick ones just in a short time. Or we have got a whole article on YouTube as well, and that video on YouTube as well. And then also deposit £1,000 every month. Again, with all of those, and each month you'll get 25 quid. Now, if you mess up 1 month and miss it, it's fine. You can do it the other 2, but ideally you want to be getting this every month to get that full additional 75 quid. It's worth saying as well that that £1,000 you need to deposit in the first stage and each of those 3 additional months doesn't have to stay in the account, it just needs to go in there. So if you can take it back out if you want and move it elsewhere to a higher paying account, or just use it to cycle around different offers if you want to. And that's all you need to do. Say all you need to do. It is quite a convoluted one, but if you haven't had any money from Co-op before, 175 quid is one of their high-end paying deals that they have offered for quite a while now, so definitely worth giving that a check. And again, it is open to existing customers, but if you have had a Co-op switching offer since the 1st November 2022, you will be ruled out, so you won't be able to get it this time. So that is the new switching offer. There are a couple still around that I've told you about previously. That first direct one for 175 quid, that is still going. And also if you go via a cashback site, there's another 35 quid available on top of that. So a good potentially £210 plus also that 7% regular saver. Again, we've got a separate article, separate video, separate coverage in the podcast. You can go back and check that out for more details of that offer. And the NatWest offer is still going as well. That is one for 150 quid. Obviously, both those ones do have criteria that you will need to follow and meet. And again, they're not open to previous switchers. But if you haven't taken advantage of it, there are 3 deals there potentially you can get some nice cash for. Another quick switching news for you, but it won't affect everyone. This is for Barclays. Now, we've seen on our Facebook community that some people have been getting an email offering them, as an existing customer, £150 for switching. Again, this is split between an initial amount for switching and then more for doing other stuff after the switch. Now, not many people seem to have got this, just a handful. But again, if you're a Barclays customer, do check those emails. You never know, you might be eligible for it. Another quick offer I'm going to tell you about, but I don't think it's worth it because it does end in June, at the end of June. So you've only got, well, 2 months really to take advantage of this. But this is a newish digital bank called iFast. They will give you 2% on spending with the card you get with it, which sounds pretty decent. Yeah, that's double you're going to get anywhere else. But again, there are some caveats. Say, I wouldn't necessarily bother with it just for 2 months, although we have seen, like with Trading 212, like with other sort of people who have introduced cashback, sometimes these things are extended. So you could go for it in the hope that it gets extended. Again, that's really up to you. But the main issue you're going to have here, this is only via Google Pay. There is no physical card and you can't add it to your Apple Wallet. So it's only going to be people with Android phones who can say you can get this and open it and add it there. But if that's you want to check it out, then maybe. A quick reminder as well, we did mention back in March that the Nationwide were given a £50 thank you bonus to most customers. That was paid on the 10th of April. So if you have got a Nationwide account and you don't use it very often, a bit like myself, maybe it's there as a backup, then do go in there and get that cash and withdraw it, either spend it or put it into savings. It's worth noting here, this does count towards your personal savings allowance every year. So if you it's 50 quid already going towards that £1,000 if you're a basic rate taxpayer, £500 if you're a higher rate taxpayer, zero if you're an additional rate taxpayer. So that will go 50 quid towards those totals. Obviously, above those totals, then you are taxed at your tax rate. Some news from Lloyds and Halifax. And I think it's good news. Hopefully, most people won't need to use it. But this is for the addition of a £100 0% overdraft. So it's only for the Club Lloyds and the Halifax Rewards accounts. Again, spoken about those a huge number of times. Big fans of the freebies you get with those. With Club Lloyds, it's Disney Plus or cinema tickets. With Halifax, it's £5 a month on cinema tickets. There are other options, but they're the main ones to go for. But yes, you will now get, if you do occasionally go overdraw, maybe just before payday, or you don't use it as your main account, maybe you just use it for some direct debits coming out of it to trigger those bonuses if you need to and things like that. This is a nice little extra to have. Or if you don't currently have those accounts and you need something just to cover you a little bit, then maybe this will one to consider. The only other one really that does something similar, and it is better than this, is First Direct. That will offer you £250 at 0%. But beyond that, you'll really struggle to get anything substantial at 0%. So an interesting one to look at there. But just remember, if you go over those buffers, those 0% buffers, then you'll be charged pretty much the going rate of around 40%. Most places will do that. It's very expensive debt. So this is not to be relied on. It's just there as a little emergency. Now, I want to give you a quick update as well on Zopa's beta current account. Beta means it's in trial. It's not been fully released. There's still no news yet of when it will be available to everyone. And there's still no news exactly what that final offering is going to be. So when we know that, that's when I'll do the full review and tell you if it's any good or not. But there have been more and more adverts going around on social media advertising this trial version of the current account. And one of you shared on the community an option which was different to the one I've told you about before. And I did a little bit of digging and I realized there are 3 different options currently being advertised to people. And this is important to know about because some of them are better than others, depending on how you're going to use the account. But some of them could be worth more, some of them could be worth less, and some of them could actually charge you money. So very quickly, there are 3 options. If you do see this link and you get the web URL that comes up, we have linked them over on Be Clever Your Cash. If you want to check them out in more detail, you'll see the end of the URL, there's an A, a B, or a C, right? So you can just change that and it will give you the different offerings. And in theory, when you then click through from that, hopefully that's what you'll be shown in the Zopa app when you actually apply for this account. But give you some idea here. Option A, 7.5% regular saver, 2% interest on in-account balances, 2% cashback on direct debits up to £1,500 a year and no fee. That's the one I've told you about previously, the standard original beta version of the account. Option B ditches the regular saver, which doesn't sound great at first instance because 7.5% regular saver is one of the best ones out there. It still gives you 2% interest on your balance, but it actually increases the cashback you get on your direct debits. You get 3% on up to £3,000. So again, you can earn a lot more that way. So yes, you lose the interest on the regular saver, but you could earn more on the direct debits and still no fee. Option C, though, kind of bundle some of these together. So you get that 7.5% regular saver, that's back in there. You get that 2% interest on your account balance, again, that's still there. And this time you get kind of an in-between of that cashback on direct debit. So you still get 2% as you did with option A, but it's on an increased £2,000 of direct debits in a year. So worth slightly more as an offering than the equivalent option in option A, but you have to pay £5 to get it. Now, again, which one is best for you will really depend on if you are going to put enough money to put into the regular saver every month, if you have enough of those direct debits coming out of that particular account to trigger that money. That £5 fee might work out better for you if you are covering everything. But again, what I would say to everyone, though, is maybe not rush into it, because these are just still those beta options. When the full one comes along, the main account comes along, then the offering, I would imagine, would be similar to these. I can't imagine it'd be worse. It might be, who knows? But yeah, only for you who really want to take advantage of it now, particularly for that savings account. Otherwise, maybe hold off. So a couple of quick updates here, and these kind of relate to Starling, Monzo and Chase in particular. Handy extras that they have introduced. So with Starling, this is a really decent one to turn on. I think if you're a Starling account, this is a low balance reminder. So you just literally go in and say, look, when your balance gets to £100, £50, £500, whatever you want to be, it will send you a notification. That's really, really useful when it comes to budgeting. Monzo has introduced something called Monzo Split, and this is where you can split expenses, either a one-off or, where I think this is probably more useful, on an ongoing basis. So particularly if you're in a house share or even potentially with your partner, certain things that you share, you can go in there and you don't even have to be a Monzo customer, or the other people don't have to be Monzo customers to come in and take part of this feature, this Monzo Split feature. You might have heard of an app called Splitwise. It's been around for a long time. This is a bit like that. So certainly, definitely worth investigating if you have Monzo or you have a lot of shared expenses, so one-offs or ongoing. It's worth looking at. And so another budgeting one here. This is Chase. They have added 11 new categories. So you can go in and you can change, when you've got a purchase, change what you would categorize it under. And this is great for budgeting, right? So for example, previously there was just going out. Well, now going out can also be categorized if you want as lunch or coffee or drinks. So that's great. Bizarrely though, there's nothing for dinner or breakfast. So it feels a bit kind of like, well, those things will still be under going out, as with tickets and stuff. But even so, it is an improvement if you are using Chase for budgeting. Again, Chase, Monzo and Starling, particularly Chase and Monzo, are very good for this aspect of helping you track your spending. Now, while we are talking about budgeting, a couple of extra things that are really worth knowing about here. One of them, Moneyhub is closing. This will already close to new customers. For an existing customer, you probably already know this, but just in case you missed it, 16th of August is when it will stop working. And this is quite sad news, really. Although this had a fee to it, it wasn't very much, and it really was probably the best of those budgeting apps out there. And this isn't the first one to go. Money Dashboard went in 2023. We had Yolt on Trees went a bit long ago. A lot of the others started getting rid of the free options and charging for them. Basically, that now means there aren't any good multi-account budgeting apps that you can get for free. Snoop has some limited options there. So if you are looking for something to replace Moneyhub or any of the others, have a look at Snoop. And we have got over on becleverwithyourcash.com an offer where you can get a £5 Amazon voucher for signing up. So do check that out. But you have to pay extra for things like customized categories, same as you do with Emma, which is still around. And in fact, you know, with these things, I think most of the time they're not going to be, there isn't really a good option for you without paying now. So if you are going to pay for one, I'd be tempted to be looking at Monzo Perks, because Monzo Perks is their third level tier. So you get the extra budgeting things you get on the middle one, but on top of that, you get things like cinema tickets and Greg. So that £7 monthly fee, you're more likely to justify it, I think, than you would be going via some of those other budgeting apps. And the last thing to talk about here is also something which people often do use for budgeting, but sometimes they use it for their kids as well. Something called HyperJar. Now, I've mainly spoken about HyperJar when it comes to cashback on things like gift cards. Definitely worth getting it for that. But again, it also is quite a good one if you are trying to sort of put things into little jars and split your money out so you can really keep a track of what you're spending it on. So it's good for that. Now, as long as you're using it, it's fine. But if you don't use it for 12 months, from the 3rd of June 2025, a £3 inactivity fee is going to be charged every month. Now, use is pretty simple, right? So you can avoid this. You just need to remember to do it. So moving money between your jars, no charge. That means you're using it, okay? Receiving money into or transferring money out of your HyperJar account, that counts. Spending with your HyperJar card or buying one of those gift cards. So as long as you do at least one of those in a year, you won't get charges. But I would put a little reminder every 12 months in your calendar, just in case you've forgotten it there in the background, just to avoid those charges coming through. The thing to remember though here about loading money into your HyperJar account, you can only load £10 or more for free 10 times a month. Now, I think that's going to be fine for most people. Obviously, you might put more on there, and that's fine as well, but just don't do more than 10. Otherwise, it does start charging you. But again, I think your main thing here is about avoiding that fee. So that is it for this update. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, more details on everything here, including those bank switching deals, over at becleverwithyourcash.com. My name's Andy Webb. Thanks for watching. Until next time, cheers.